Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another anime video, and this time around I'm going to be listing out some shows that I think are going to be the best anime for non-anime fans. And yes, this is a part 1, you did read the title correctly. I'm intending to get you guys involved for part 2, and I have a few things that I kept in mind while making this list that I'd like you to keep in mind too before leaving your comments down below. So let me lay out those rules, then fair game. Go ahead and leave your comments. So the first thing I kept in mind while making this list was genre. I wanted to pick genres that if I just said what the genre was to somebody who wasn't into anime or potentially didn't like anime because of the stereotypes, it wouldn't raise any red flags for them. So obviously something like isekai is not on the table because it immediately sounds like something out of an anime. But the ones I did choose for this video include fantasy, comedy, rom-com, as well as action thriller, and of course, superhero, because who doesn't love a good superhero movie? The second thing I kept in mind was the dub, and I can already hear dub haters saying, oh, well, it should be the original language or nothing, but here's the thing. If you're trying to get somebody who isn't into anime, you want to make it as palatable as possible. So if the dub is good, that means that they can enjoy the same content you've enjoyed, but they can enjoy it in a language where they don't have to read the subtitles and be somewhat detached from the rest of the show. They can just enjoy it in a language they understand. So yeah, I do kind of get it. I have never fully understood the sub or nothing elitism, but I get where some of you might disagree, but if you're trying to get somebody into it, you might as well make it palatable and then move them on from there. That's how I've done it. It's hopefully how you guys will do it, but those are the two things I kept in mind while making this list. So now let's get into the shows. So like I said, first genre is fantasy, and of course, me being me, I pick Fairy Tail, and one of my main reasons for that is because of the art style. It's very cartoonish at the start. Yeah, it does kind of get more anime later on, but if somebody gets into Fairy Tail at the start who's a non-anime fan and gets far enough for the art style to change into something that looks more anime, I think you're an anime fan at that point, to be completely honest. But that was one of the reasons. The other reason was the world. It's sort of detached from Japanese culture, so you don't get a lot of the more stereotypical anime based in Japan sort of things. It's its own world, it's its own rules, and it's a really cool kind of separation that lets the viewer kind of see it as its own thing. And of course the dub is great. You've got veteran voice actors like Sherman Lee, you've got Todd Haberkorn, just great voice actors all around. The dub is rock solid from start to finish.
Crap, we gotta get out of here!
Where the heck are you taking me?
Just come on, you said that you wanted to join the Fairy Tail Guild, didn't you? So let's go!
And overall, I think that if you're trying to get somebody into anime and they like the fantasy genre, this is a good pick. Another good pick is Seven Deadly Sins, and part of it is for that same reason as Fairy Tail, where culturally it's a bit more detached from anything else. But the other thing that kind of drew me to it was the fact that the character names like Arthur or Meliodas or any of the ones that are based on legend characters are going to be something that people might recognize even if they're not attuned to Japanese culture, because these names don't come from that culture. They come from totally different stories and mythology. I think that's kind of cool, and while the character names are attached to characters that are completely separated from where the original legendary characters came from, the story itself is great. I think the animation and art style is good enough that people might just pass it off as a decent cartoon. And of course with the dub, not bad. Pretty good. I would say that it takes a minute to grow on me because I watched the subtitled version, but for somebody just hopping right in, I think it would fit in just fine.
On, Captain!
Do I want to know? Just roll with it.
But you know, fantasy can have its dark moments and its very serious moments. Fairy Tail and Seven Deadly Sins both do. So what if you're just trying to get somebody into anime who's into just a good laugh? That's all they want. They don't really care about plot or story. They just want comedy. Well, that's where Konosuba comes in. Konosuba is one of those shows where I've watched it quite a few times and the jokes still land, they're still funny. The energy behind the acting both in the subbed version and dubbed version is amazing. Somehow the dubbed character voice actors actually get almost on the same level of energy as the original Japanese voice actors. That impressed me considering how much ad-libbing there kind of was with the Japanese cast.
If you beat me, I'll grant you any one request.
Okay, you're on. Ready to go!
And The animation and art style is just funny, whether you're into anime or not. Just the way the characters act and the way that things are drawn are just hilarious. And one of the side benefits of this show is if they're into it, you've kind of got them into an isekai, even if you didn't pitch it to them as an isekai. But while Konosuba is funny, there are points where you're not laughing, you're just following the characters. If you want a start to finish laugh fest, just go watch Ghost Stories. I don't really need to say much other than make sure you watch it in the English dub, because that's the only way to watch that show. All the comedy falls away as soon as you watch it in Japanese, but oh my god, it's hilarious. I don't want to say any more because I don't want to spoil anything. Just non-anime fans, go watch Ghost Stories.
Shirotabi, please forgive me for bringing you back to life. I know now that it could never work between us. As much as we wanted to, it could never be. Not because you're a rabbit, but because you're black.
But let's say with all that comedy, you're trying to get somebody into anime who wants some funny stuff, but they want to feel emotion for characters. They want love. Well, that's where rom-coms come in. And you can't get better than the classics like Ouran High School Host Club. Ouran just, it's so good. It's funny, don't get me wrong, and the general setup at the very start of the whole series is great. And I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't watched it, but the setup is amazing. The art style is unique and almost something that could easily be passed as just a cartoon, so there's that. And of course, you've got veteran voice actors in the dub, meaning that it is dub cast so well. You've got Vic Mignogna, J. Michael Tatum. It's an amazing dub, and overall hilarious, very good, and you have those romantic moments that really hit home, so that's a plus.
You sure it's really okay for me to keep this uniform?
Cute! You're as pretty as a girl. Adorable!
Honey-dun, you look so cute!
If we had known that's how you really look, we would have helped you out sooner.
Who knows? Maybe he'll draw in some customers.
Now, of course, if you want something a little more modern, you could always go with Kaguya-sama Love is War. And that show was easily my favorite show of the last year. It was so good. I know we were watching second season last year, but God, was that show so good. And it's funny because the art style is great, the gags are hilarious, but one of the things that really impressed me was the dub. I was really kind of put off by the casting initially, but it's really good, actually. It grew on you, and there's videos around there saying you can't resist the Kaguya-sama dub, and they're kind of right. The dub actually really grew on me, and I think for a non-anime fan, there's enough there to pass off as a cartoon and something non-offensive enough that they might think that it's a decent show, and there you go. You've gotten them into anime via rom-com with some amazing, amazing jokes.
No one will disturb us for 3 hours, and Shinomiya will forget whatever happens? Why have I been given this overly convenient chance to be a scumbag?
How much advantage did he take, though? That is the question. And if the answer is none whatsoever, that's infuriating too!
But okay, enough of the comedy. I'm done with that. I want to get punched in the gut with action. I want to be thrilled. Action thriller, right? You want to do something like that? Well, you can't get more action thriller than Attack on Titan. In fact, Attack on Titan is one of those shows that went so mainstream that I'd be hard-pressed to think of anybody in my life who has not watched Attack on Titan or at least heard of it. So if you manage to come across somebody who wants to watch an action thriller and you want to get them into anime, start out with Attack on Titan. The shock factor and action, it's all there. But like I said, Attack on Titan is one of those shows that went so mainstream that it's really hard to find somebody who hasn't watched it or at least heard of it. And if somebody's heard of it and really doesn't want to watch anime, they're probably not going to want to watch that because they've heard of it and know it's anime. So maybe they're into something like Blade Runner. Maybe you could get them into something like Psycho-Pass. Psycho-Pass is a little bit more obscure, but it is such a good show, and it's a classic. Like, you can't go wrong with that. The actual art style really gets that Blade Runner dystopia look to it. The story itself is very unique, but the world is sort of built around, as Makishima says, the world of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which was the book that spawned Blade Runner, if you don't know. So a lot of this dystopian world and the references made within it are based on movies from different writers of different cultures. So it's a really good jumping off point to get somebody into anime, especially how dark it is. And the dub, just Oh my god, Makishima's voice actor is easily one of the best castings of that entire series.
Physical books are more than the words they contain. They're also tools to stimulate your senses and adjust your thinking. Jesus told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and went away.
I love the whole show. I love the dub. Hopefully, somebody into dystopian thrillers would be as well. And of course, it's got its fair share of action and violence. Fun fact, when I actually made the audio design for the Psychopaths Abridged series, I had to make a file called Human Exploding to make this scene happen. That's a file on my computer. God, I hope the FBI doesn't come knocking down my door. But anyway, back on track. Who doesn't love a good superhero movie? Just the thrill of justice being brought forward. Batman, Superman, Snyder Cut. Why am I going DC? Marvel, Iron Man. Anyway, who doesn't love those? If you don't, that's fine. I don't know who you are, but cool. The point I'm trying to make is that I'm sure there's a lot of people who are into superhero movies who aren't into anime. And what's a better anime to get somebody into who likes superheroes than My Hero Academia? This is another one of those shows as well where if they really get into it, they've invested in a long-running anime series. And as somebody who's recently started reading the manga and is almost caught up, enjoy the good feelings while they last. But, hey, the good feelings from now until where we are in the anime currently, those hold, which means that if somebody's really watching this show and likes it, and they weren't originally into anime, they're probably hooked at that point. So that's good. The animation is great, especially when Yuta Nakamura takes the reins. I'll sing his praise as an animator from now till the day I die, just because every time he takes reins, it's incredible. Even just the art style is approachable and palatable for a non-anime fan. And the dub. Oh my god, let's talk about the dub.
Please sign my notebook! He already did! Thank you so much! This will be an heirloom, a family treasure passed down for generations to come!
Well, I've got to get this guy to the police so they can take care of him.
This dub definitely shows that the actors, the writers, everybody cares. It's really weird to say that, but especially with them working on the simul dub schedule, especially at the beginning of the series, it is very impressive how good the quality of voice acting is from the start all the way out to the current season. So it's good. If you're not into anime, go watch it. But you don't want to watch an origin story, right? Who wants to watch an origin story, especially a long-drawn origin story? I mean, hell, Deku didn't get his hero's license for so long, and it's not even full hero license, it's provisional. I want to watch a hero who is just unrecognized, but at his best. Well, you need to watch One Punch Man. It's funny, it's animated incredibly well in the first season, and it's got actually some pretty decent voice acting. I don't like the filter they put over Genesis' voice, if there is a filter over Genesis' voice, but apart from that, it's funny. The jokes land both in English and in Japanese.
Defying me, man!
Yeah, I got it. It's raining out, so let's get this over with.
It's just good. You should watch it. And it was mainstream for a while, kind of. I still don't think it was super mainstream, but hey, you know what? If you want to get into it, go for it. If you don't want to get into it, have a friend force you to get into it because it's really good. And that's it. Those are my, 10, but 5 categories, 10 episodes. I don't know. This was not a top 10 video. It was more of just here's a list. And I hope you guys will add to the list in the comment section down below. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this. I don't really have much else to say. I hope you guys really did enjoy this, and I'll be making more of these in the future. If you guys can think of anything that I might have missed, I know there's things like Western. I've got Cowboy Bebop on another list. Don't worry, we'll get into that later. But either way, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure to be there, and have a good one.